Bungie was back this week with their This Week at Bungie update, giving us an in-depth look at the recent Trials of Osiris stats, and also analysis into how things are going. Plus, we got some surprise Iron Banner tweaks, and we got Grandmaster Nightfalls coming back next week. But today, I'm going to get into all the latest news surrounding Destiny 2, so let's get to it. Well, first of all, we had some Iron Banner updates, so this week the Iron Banner rages on. In case you missed it or haven't played this week, we increased the score target from 125 to 150 for the match-based control mode, and we also adjusted the mercy threshold to try and reduce the number of games that end shortly before a team reaches the score target. And Bungie say, let us know how these changes feel. With Iron Banner being live this weekend, we're giving Trials the weekend off, but we wanted to give one more update on how week 3 went. Well, next up, we've got the Clinical Trials Debrief. So last weekend was the third weekend of our ongoing test and learn, and the two big changes this week were running the Trials Labs Capture Zone mode and tweaking the Flawless Pool to enable Sunday morning at 10 AM, and here's some updates on the data and what it looked like in week 3. So the solo win rate remained high at 27%, and the solo blowout rate was 37% prior to enabling the pool, and it dropped to below 30% after, and these are all consistent with week 2. Next up, looking at the non-competitive matches, that's 5-0 and 5-1. That was about 55% on Friday and Saturday, and dropped to 51% on Sunday and Monday, all very consistent with week 2. We saw solid sub 50-second matchmaking times all weekend, aside from the early in-card matchmaking protection, causing a slight rise up to 75 seconds during the middle of the night in North America on Sunday and Monday. But overall, we had 667,000 players participating in Trials Labs, down 33k from week 2, with 220k players going flawless, and we had 100k fewer matches played overall, which is roughly the same average matches per player. One dataset that is particularly informative is the average hours played by skill, and this shows us that the mid-range skill, aka the average crucial player, are playing 1.5 to 2 hours more on average, and meanwhile the average hours played at the high-end skill range barely changed. Well, we did find one bug in the way that the pool-based matchmaking interacts and disables pools. It collapses them down into the previous pool, and unfortunately the setup for aiding matchmaking for the first few wins of the week causes an unintentional flawless mini pool for the first 2 wins of the card. So if you went flawless and you're on a win 0 or win 1 of your reset passage, you preferentially match against other flawless players in the same state. Once you get to 2 wins, this does go away. And of course, starting at 10 AM on Sundays, the entire passage has preferential matchmaking against other flawless players. So those of you who thought matchmaking got harder after going flawless on Friday or Saturday, even though the flawless pool wasn't on, well, you were right. We're planning a fix for this in the next few weeks, but this weekend is off for Iron Banner, but the next few weekends we'll be back to standard elimination in Trials of Osiris with the flawless pool starting on Sunday at 10 AM. We know that shaking up every weekend has been a bit jarring, and we are looking to keep some consistency in the weeks ahead. Well, next up we've got the Trials Labs talk. So the first weekend of Trials Labs went really well. We played a lot, read a lot of feedback, and we looked at the data. So analytically the weeks look very similar, and matches were slightly more competitive as players grapple with the new rule set. Experientially, there are a few changes we're looking to make the mode better. So what we want to do is find a different way to vary the capture zone location without giving positional advantage to either side. And internally, we tested a single central zone, but we found that it created a dull, repetitive game as it always collapsed to the usable map space to that central location. The current method uses the central tiebreaker position as centre and the AC positions from control during the advantage rounds, and we use these points to get the mode into testing quicker, but unfortunately that had the side effect of giving one side an advantage. So we like the dynamism that created when we playtested internally, and that might sound like a good mechanism in a less competitive mode, but we heard you loud and clear that significant of an advantage is too much for Trials of Osiris. We're looking at authoring additional neutral capture locations for a few maps to support further labs this season, and we may still play around with a milder advantage position to use in extreme cases depending on the map, but we wanted to make sure we have at least 3 neutral zones. We also want to remove the gain super energy on capture from the capture zone. This specifically after an elimination leads to more snowballing, so these changes are going to need a little bit more work and playtesting than the changes we've been making so far. so we're looking to get something back ready for another run at Trials Labs Capture Zone as early as December. Well, that is it for the Trials of Osiris information, but next up we've got news on Grandmaster Nightfalls. And next week, Grandmaster difficulty unlocks for Nightfalls. So first up this season, you'll be going into the Hollowed Lair to face off against the Fanatic and his Horde of Scorn. Be careful, dead thing, as the Scorn have recently discovered the ways to wield stasis, and things might get a little bit icy out there. Well, if this is your first go in the realm of Grandmaster difficulty, the power bar is set high for this aspirational activity. Now make sure you have those numbers pumped up to 1345 to get started, so if you're trying to catch up, well, you can snag some bounties, complete your seasonal challenges, and earn as many pinnacle power rewards as you can. Iron Banner is all the rage this week, so make sure you complete all 4 pinnacle bounties before Lord Saladin packs up shop. Well, later on in the season, we will be making some changes to Grandmasters and their accessibility. We mentioned these changes in the previous TWAB, and upon rereading some of the bullets, we realised it may look like these changes were going live in tandem with Grandmasters becoming available this season. So apologies if we caused any confusion, but the following changes are coming in an update currently planned for December. So here is a quick recap of what's coming. The Grandmaster catch-up mode will now become available at the same time as Grandmaster difficulty, so long as you have the Conqueror title, but have not yet gilded it this season. Grandmasters will have already gone live by the time this change comes later in the season, but the catch-up mode will be available in Grandmasters' first starting seasons going forward. Each Grandmaster Nightfall will be available if the fireteam leader has not completed the Gilded Triumph for that strike during the season, so in other words, you may play each featured strike for a season to earn your gilded title, and once you gild your title, the catch-up node will no longer be available. Well, in terms of loot, there aren't really any major changes coming. Completing a Grandmaster Nightfall gives you the chance to earn adept variants of the Nightfall specific weapons, such as the Palindrome Hand Cannon or the newly released Hothead Rocket Launcher. Players may also earn enhancement cores, prisms and ascendant shards for their efforts, and we recently made a change where adept weapon mods for impact, charge time, blast radius and projectile speed can now be acquired from Grandmaster Nightfalls in addition to Trials of Osiris and raids. Well, good luck out there, Guardians. Fire team up and take on the darkness, and don't feel shame if you need some guidance, mind you. There's plenty of creators throughout the community that are eager to provide tips, tricks and in-depth guides to help you on your way to that Conqueror title. Well, that is it today for all the latest news from Bungie, but let me know in the comments what you think of Trials, how that Labs mode went, plus also the return of Grandmasters. Well, as always, thank you so much for watching, and for more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.